Hey car people, John from John's Barn. Gonna make a quick one here. It's about 96 degrees out. I mean, my mouth is even dry. Just wanted to catch you up real quick. If you guys remember the white Ford powerstroke that I put the turbo on, I took a break from the house inside and working on the house, and still been dealing with some family issues with my daughter, trying to help her out. And I dropped it off in the morning, and they dropped it off that evening. And it needs a grill. And here's the lower grill support. And the headlights busted all to hell. There's a small dent there. I dollied most of it back up. They hit a turkey. Can you believe that? They were on their way across town to pick up a welder. They own a company, these great big 5,000-pound welders that you tow behind trucks. I ordered one. I got it in 2 days. There's my panel there, and well, you know the phone would ring. Well, I'll worry about that later. So anyway, this week I'm gonna bust that out. It's gonna be a lot cooler the next couple days, and plus we're gonna be cleaning all this stuff that I got from this guy. All these screws and nuts and bolts and clips and clamps. They're all going over here to the carport, over to one side, out of my way. This furnace is eventually going to go in here. It's going to go in the shed. I'm going to be picking this stuff up. I'm getting this. I need to get this place situated. And as soon as his GTO is done, yeah, GTO back there, he's sending his crew over here and to help me empty out this barn so we can get my floor in. So that takes care of that. Yeah, that cutlass is getting parted out. That's our next week's. In 2 days, me and my buddy can have what's good off this. I already have half the stuff sold off it. That 68 442 is sold. The guy bought the whole car. He's got a bunch of them. He lives in Colorado. So he's got like 5 68 and 69 bodies that are zero rust. And he said that that's a perfect donor car because it's complete. You know, buckets, console, steering column, steering wheel, motor, trans, 12 bolt rear end. So have at it. And I got a title for it. But here's a 54 DeSoto, folks. And you know what they say? Remember the old commercial? Hey, has that thing got a hemi? And the answer, of course, is yes. There it is, people. I believe, and it's complete. And it does turn over with a bar and a socket. The starter's crap. It's only got 60,000 miles on it. These came from out west. Guy had hundreds of cars, and him and his son, he's guy's like 80 years old. Him and his son decided just to get rid of everything and keep like 20 cars. And I got involved in it. A friend of mine touched base with me, and I got friends all over. He said, hey, there's a bunch of cars out here, man, and price was right. There's not much on this, but I've already got what I paid for it sold off the front end plus, and we're going to pull the engine and trans, and I can sell that separately. This I don't know what to do with. This is the pretty much the most solid rust-free 54 New Yorker I've ever seen that was unrestored. It has zero holes. I'm not talking rust. People will say, oh, it's got rust. That is the ultimate patina. I'm half thinking of having the flat glass cut for it. I've got a windshield, believe it or not. I found a back glass for $120 and $85 shipping out of Indiana. Guy's got a bunch of these, bunch of parts. The door handles are the same as the DeSoto door handles, and I can touch up the interior and throw a couple blankets on the seats temporarily. And I've got this rocker chrome off another one I parted out. I've got the fender chrome off one I parted out. So there's nothing that it needs I don't have. The car is not bent up. The front grille assembly and everything is perfect. And I used to buy a lot of these out of Colorado. There's a guy I knew in Colorado, and they were emptying out a junkyard, and I bought like a dozen Hemi cars. Actually, there were a couple of them were like together like this, and I actually got them running and driving and sold them. This is a 54. This is a first year 331 Hemi 4-barrel engine. 51 through 53, they had 2-barrel. The 51 through 53, the bell housing for the trans was cast onto the back of the block. The block was really long and heavy, and a matter of fact, there are some machine shops that will machine that off the back towards flush, to where it looks exactly like a 54 on up. And there are the spots exactly. They're actually, you can see them, the bosses, and they drill and tap those holes, and you can bolt a transmission on them. But it's not cheap. I've never asked. I imagine probably $500 or more. But the guys want the 54 and newer because this is an engine and a bell housing and transmission. You can actually bolt a 727 on one of these, and away you go. Got a little kit that I forgot which you have to get, different flywheel or something, but boom, and away you go. I stuck a battery in this and hit the solenoid, and it spun over like it had been parked for a week. And my friend was over, and I had him watch the oil pressure gauge, because these have a mechanical gauge, real time. And it spun over about 10 times, and he said, "You got 20 pounds oil pressure and climbing." So we're gonna do a will it run on this next week. It also came with the factory 4-barrel air cleaner, which is amazing. They're always gone. Here's the T-37 from hell that I cannot get to turn over, and I've tried everything but muriatic acid. You cannot use that with the heads on because you can't get it out of there, and it'll continue to bubble until it starts to eat the pistons. I know, I've been doing this my whole life. And so I'm pulling the intake and heads. It's another next week job. We're gonna do a quick video on that. I don't understand it because 5 of the cylinders, I put a borescope down, and 5 of the cylinders look like the engine had been shut off the day before. They were that clean. And the other 3, the pistons were either at the top or almost to the top, and a couple of them had like that white crust around them. And the exhaust for some reason was off of this car. So it's either, my guess is, and they're opposing cylinders. So my guess is I can get 3 inches, about 2 or 3 inches out of it. When I'm turning it one way, one piston's going up, one piston's coming down, and vice versa. So what we're going to do is, and this is an old trick, I'm going to jack it way up on one side so that the engine is more level, and put some muriatic acid down the problem cylinders, and let it sit there and boil for a couple hours, and then you've got to get it out. I actually watched a YouTube video, guy let it sit in there for about 8 hours and then tried to dilute it with baking soda, which slows down the process but it doesn't stop it. And then they rinsed it out there with water, and the pistons were kind of like a charcoal gray color, and they had little teeny tiny peck marks in them where the muriatic acid was starting to eat the pistons. You gotta watch it, man. It's stuff's badass. So I'm gonna do that. Let it sit for a couple hours, let it down, take the hose, rinse it out with water, and then hose it down with a PB blaster. Jack the other side up, do the same thing. If that won't get it to turn over, then something internally is wrong with the engine, because I've got a 421 in the barn that had gotten wet, and then how I got wet I don't know, but 2 cylinders were rusty. It actually needs a sleeve. That's how bad it is. It's got pit marks. And it was in a street rod in the 60s, late 60s. They pulled it out and put a blown small block Chevy in it because it was lighter, supposedly. And the guy said it wasn't as fast. And I thought I'll never get that motor to turn over, and I soaked it, cocked to one side with the heads off it. And in a couple hours with a bar, I had the engine spinning. And that end, I was shocked. It's got old TRW forged pistons, 30 over. I don't want to go 40 or 50 or 60 over, so I decided, and it's just 1 cylinder. So I'm going to sleeve that cylinder and go 30 on it. The crosshatch marks are still in it. He said there was only about 1,500 miles on the motor, which I believe, because it wasn't even dirty inside. And someone even put stainless valves in the heads. And that was a long time ago. I wonder what they used. Because he said the motor was built like in 68 or 70 or 72 or something like that. It's got ARP bolts in the heads. Because he said he had it for 45 years. This guy was like 80 years old. And we pulled it off from underneath his bench, and he said he'd moved it a couple times, and I think it had got caught in the rain once, or they washed it off and then a little bit of water got down the carb. I don't know. But that's why I can't understand why that thing will not turn over. Because the guy that bought it was under the hood with my breaker bar and a pipe. And he was like bouncing in the air. And I had the battery charger on like 1,000 cranking amp battery. I was under the car with my push button start, and it turned a couple inches, and then I had my bar and I would hit the button, and I had everything I could put on the bar, and it would move about a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch at a time. And I didn't just, I'm like, it's gonna break rings, or I'm gonna chip a tooth off the flywheel, and I'm gonna go flying, cut my hand up. And this is after soaking it with everything. Acetone, that's my favorite, like a 70-30 mix, acetone and trans fluid. It has gotten every engine in the last 10 years unstuck. Piece of cake. A couple guys on YouTube that use it, and they've gotten stuff unstuck that you would laugh when you were watching them. The motor's never going to turn. Boom, it turns. I've used vinegar, and vinegar is dangerous. I mean, that stuff, I've seen it to where it cleans the top of the pistons to where they look like they came out of a box. I did the PB Blaster thing. Marvel Mr. L will not get an engine unstuck. There's even a couple guys on YouTube that they've showed you, they've ran tests on rusty engines, and they show you like 3 days later what this stuff has done. And Marvel Mr. L, it barely even cleans the carbon off pistons. It's more of a lubricant than, and it's for an engine that's running. I'm not knocking it. It's just, if you got an engine that's rusty, crusty, and it's stuck, it came back last right next to WD-40. Okay, the PB Blaster actually did a pretty good job. That stuff it's got acid in it. That stuff is, I mean, I love it. There's not hardly a nut or a bolt that I haven't been able to get loose because of either using that or that with a combination of a torch, and off she comes. But anyway, I just wanted to share these two cars with you guys, and there's a few more. We're gonna be playing with that T-37. I told the guy a little bit more, man. If I can't get it to turn over once the heads are off, you're on your own. I do have 5 or 6 used 400s with decent miles, and that were good running motors. I make him a deal and install it, and then it's got to go, because I sold that car months ago. It's either that or I buy it back. And we've got another cool car coming in, folks. It's a look this up. Look up a 1956 Dodge Coronet Suburban. Contrary to the Chevy guys' belief, Chevy did not have a patent on the name Suburban. Dodge used it, Plymouth used it, I think somebody else used it, and of course Chevy used it. Or General Motors. It looks like a 56 Coronet 2-door, because it's a 2-door wagon. It's like a Nomad, it's not a 4-door. And they're supposed to have either a flat 6 or the Red Ram Hemi. And this has a poly Hemi engine in it. They called it a semi-Hemi. It's a Hemi short block with these poly heads. And I looked everywhere, every piece of brochures, information, documentation. That engine's not supposed to be in that car. So my only guess is the Red Ram Hemi took a crap, and these polys will literally bolt right in and plug in. It's the same motor. So but we'll see when it gets here, and it's got just 2 little spots of rust. It's a barn find, all original paint, and it's cool. It is cool. And I've always wanted a 2-door wagon to play with, and so that one's going to stay in the herd. I wanted a 57, 58 Pontiac 2-door wagon. Good luck. If you see what a rusty one brings, I mean, those things are insane, the price. I mean, I'd have to take money out of my house to buy one that's restorable and then to spend 5 years restoring it. just not going to happen. So, but that'll be here next week. Actually, the driver's supposed to pick it up tomorrow or Saturday, so I'll make a video on that next week. But anyway, we've covered the early Hemi cars. We're going to be torching on the old Cutlass, and got 2 different guys that bought parts, and then the rest we're going to, the engine and trans is coming out, and the bucket seats and the chrome, and then she goes to the boneyard, and it'll end up as a electric bicycle and a microwave and a toaster in 3 or 4 months. And engine is literally just sitting in the Grand Prix now. The remaining bolts are out. I have 1 trans bolt that's holding it in. I might pull that engine out Saturday or Sunday, weather permitting. So that pretty much covers everything. Thanks for joining me again, people. I'm going to be posting some regular videos from John's barn, and hope you enjoy watching these. Like I said before, I'm just a good old normal guy who I just make videos. I don't do editing, and I don't do all these, I don't do this, fancy video stuff with the stuff on the screens and editing here and chopping here and going. 3 days later, I can do all that. I've got a little bit of ADHD or ADD, if you call it, and sitting there for a while playing with the video and splicing, I've done it a couple times. It irritates me. So I'm just doing. There's other people like me on YouTube. They do the video real time. This is real time. I'm just a good old guy. I've got, German roots, Irish roots. My dad was a hillbilly from up north, if you want to believe that. Born in northern Michigan and lived on a farm. I mean, barefoot and, playing in the weeds, chasing the squirrels. And I grew up on a farm with chickens and ducks and a cow, and we had 2 goats and a horse. So I'm just a good old guy that likes the outdoors, and this is what I like to do. So I'll keep you posted. We're going to do a will it run on that, or will it break in correctly, hopefully, on the GTO engine. And we're going to do a will it run on that 54 New Yorker. And once the engine's out of this Cutlass, I did soak it, and I did to get that to turn over. So we're going to do a will it run on that 330, high output 330 engine. See how it sounds. And we'll just keep posting as we go. I'm going to spend a day here this weekend putting the turkey damaged Ford Powerstroke back together again, so we can leave here for the 2nd time. And hopefully it stays gone, because it's a eyesore. And get this yard cleaned up before cold weather. So thanks again for visiting John at John's barn. John says thanks and bye, and the barn says come and see me again. Be good, stay safe, take care of people, be kind, love one another. See ya.